Okay, well, let's get started. Today's meeting will be math support. And I don't have actually a lot of prompts. I'm actually gonna go out of this full screen mode. Really the discussion points are pretty simple this time around. It's either, I'm going to show off the capabilities that exist in Torus already that we've just built, just landed. And then get some ideas about what are other places or needs around math support that might be interesting or something we hadn't thought of, wish list items that you might have, or experiences that you've had in other platforms that you either would like to see replicated here, or you don't like how it's done somewhere and you have ideas for how it could be done. So let's just get started. And the reason I have these examples here is because I'm not a math person, by the way. I built most courses that I've built in my lifetime have been in the humanities, social sciences. And so I haven't had to deal too much with math. So I really want to learn from you all as I go through this. So the reason I have these here is so that I can copy and paste them to show some of this. So this is a latex example. And let me show you right now. I'm in Torus and I have just this like test course that I use just to try things out. And so I'm gonna put a new page in and show you a couple of the capabilities that we have. So essentially we've built the ability to do both LaTeX and Mathml support. And the way you do that, you can do it in almost any place you want to put math and equations. So this can be done in the page itself to show examples. You can use it as, you can use this in a question stem, any of the question answer options, and you can have students submit equations as well as an answer. So let me just show you, first of all, how this is done in and you'll have to forgive me because again, I'm always new to Torus. Every time I'm in here, I'm learning new things. So let's see where we were. I'm looking for something in particular here. I'm looking for formula. Here we go. So anywhere, this is just in a block. In the page. So say you want to show an example of an equation, you can put this block in and then you can click it and you get this formula editor. And here is where you can add either LaTeX or Mathml. In terms of LaTeX, I'm going to paste this in, this formula, and it gives you a little preview of what that's going to look like on the page. And then you can save that and it'll show up on the page in this block. The same can be done. Give me a second here to find the right book. With Mathml. Let me get my Mathml example here. Oops. And just paste that in. And again, the preview, this did work. I think I have something wrong with this. Maybe then.
It still thinks it's latex.
Thank you. See, I'm not. Okay, wait, let me cancel. I think I need to. Okay. I had this working. I guess I didn't have the right thing. But they both do work. I have tested them both. But you see how this is coming up in the page. And then if I preview, which I can do. I mean, I have no other content on this page, but if I did, it would show up, I could have text in between explaining the example or underneath. But this is how it shows up in the preview. And then the other thing I wanted to show off is the ability to do this in a question. So let me do it in a multiple choice question. I can have it in here. Let's put that same example as part of the question. So you can say solve for, I know, you know what I mean? Like again, I don't develop math, but I can imagine you can use these and you can put them in the answer options. So you guys will have to tell me if the interface that I'm pulling up here to do this in is about what you expect, is different than what you expect, is better than what you expect. And then, yeah, you can have it in hints as well. I mean, really any place you can put text, essentially now you can use this formula editor to put things in place. So let's see if I preview this. Did I not save it? Oop. So here's my question. Well, here's my examples. This is a question, and then the answer options. You know, very lightweight, not a full-fledged example, but I am curious about anybody's reactions to the editor itself, and if this is going to, if there's anything else that you're possibly looking for, anywhere you would want to put a formula that is different from what I've shown here, is in terms of like basically anywhere you can put text, you can put a formula now using either Mathml or Latex. I don't know what else is needed in terms of math support. So folks can want to come off mute and let me know what you're thinking so far about this.
Aaron, in the editor, can you sort of start typing it in and see the formula as it's created, or do you recommend?
Oh yeah, good question. I haven't tested for that yet. Let's try that. Again, I'm not a Mathml or a Latex, but let's see if I just took some of this away. Yeah, it looks like the preview is responsive to what you're typing at the moment. I'm going to grab that other formula because it's a little easier. But it seems to be responsive for what's in the editor at the moment. So I think that's a yes. Let me grab that other formula. And maybe the formula editor is actually it's actually doing either one, no matter what I put in there. I don't have to like select something up here. But let's take this piece out. So that's that. And then if I just start typing something, yeah. Seems to be completely responsive. Good question, Mark.
Thanks.
I don't know what else I can say or show, guys. I mean, it's pretty simple. Jason, I know you have probably have a lot of math needs. I'm not sure in the courses that you've developed in the past if this would suit those needs or if it's something else you'd be looking for.
No, this seems to be a pretty great addition, and I believe it can put in pretty much whatever math expressions we are looking for. One thing I would like to try really quick, if that's
Sure.
okay, if you could go to line 1
Uh-huh.
And at the end of line 1, hit a space bar and then type 2 backslashes.
Okay. Is that this?
Yeah, and then do you have to hit the LaTeX button again, or is that supposed to be dynamic?
I think it's supposed to be dynamic. What is that supposed to do?
So that's supposed to be a line break, to be able to create a second
Oh.
line of equations.
Okay.
But it doesn't look like it's actually doing that. So yeah, so that's one thing that's important to note. Yeah,
Okay.
the forward slashes don't mean anything, but the backslashes, when you put 2 of them together, it means a line break in LaTeX.
Let's see.
So yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be. Oh, what did it do? It didn't do anything there. I was just playing around to see if it would do something different if I put it here.
Sure. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so line breaks are something that we need to account for.
Well, it's not the case. I mean, people can put in different equations. So for example, one thing that we often do in a course like linear algebra is we'll do a matrix of values. And usually you can do that in one line. Sometimes some people prefer to do it with multiple lines. And, if we can get multiple lines in the same gray box, then that would be able to, people would have a little bit more flexibility with that. But,
Okay.
in general, I think it's still fine, even if you can't do that. If you make line 2 blank, it doesn't change anything. Is that right? And just just move that down to line 3.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. So it's treating this whole expression as one math markup unit. Okay.
Right. And so then I guess if I wanted another one, let me save this. Sorry, my Zoom controls. And then I guess what I would want to do then is just add another line,
Yep.
and you can have them stacked, but then they're going to show, with these breaks.
Yeah.
So, which, like you said, is probably fine. But if you want to be able to, if you're going to be authoring a lot of this, and you might want several formulas in one gray box.
Right. Yeah. Several
Yes.
lines of formulas.
Mm-hmm. And then another thing I found when I was testing this out and learning more about it was in our chemistry course, they have, and that's where I pulled some of these, but they'll have things crossed out, which I know is a notation available in both Mathml and LaTeX, but I didn't see that working. It was giving me a funky thing. So that's some feedback I'm going to provide to the team too. Like, again, this is just something that's in our testing system right now. It's about to be pushed over to production and
Okay.
available on our Proton link, that where you can get a Torus account. But I'm doing this still in our testing environment. So I'm going to be providing this feedback from this meeting and what I've learned. So it's great. Are there any other places that you can think of that, I mean, there's really, as long as you can do it anywhere there's text field, I guess that's all you need, right? Okay. Yeah, kind of a boring meeting today, folks, because I actually had this meeting scheduled and the topic before they'd even started doing this development work, but it turns out they were able to, they've been working on it silently in the background and just landed it this week. So I was excited to be able to show it instead of gathering requirements. And it sounds like you guys have given me some good feedback.
And just a quick question in the opposite direction. If we've got something highly graphical, did I forget that there's an easy way to make the multiple choice options little bits of graphics?
Yes, you can do that. So I can
Great. So it's just one of the drop down menus. Yep. Got it. I was almost certain the answer was yes, but I didn't catch that little option.
Yeah.
You brought it down last time. Great. Nope, just wanted to make sure we didn't we already had that.
Yeah. You
Yep.
do.
Good.
Cool.
I like geometry, so I always ask about pictures.
Yes. I will caution on pictures though. We got to figure out a way to do geometry where, because the thing about this then that we have to worry about are screen readers, right? And
Yep.
so if you put an image of a formula, then a screen reader is not going to pick up that formula.
Right.
It's gonna, and then I guess you could put alt text in that explains the formula, but
we recently graduated a blind student, so I'm very intimately familiar with accommodations involving alt text and geometry.
yes. And in fact, it's at the beginning of last semester, we had a blind student who was taking our statistics course. And
Mhm.
although we felt like we built that really well in terms of accessibility and making sure we had alt text, I realized at that point that not everything had been
Yep.
put in there. So I actually we're wrapping up a project now where I had someone go and write alt text for every single image and
That's
graph.
great.
And yeah, and we're going to be implementing it hopefully to get it done by end of summer for the next iteration of the course for the fall.
That's wonderful. Yeah. It's a pain, but it actually made me a better teacher because I had to practice my verbalization skills,
Yeah,
my clarity. It was wonderful.
right. So yeah, I had someone write it all, and now I have another person coming in and reviewing it to make sure that there's consensus on how to describe some of that stuff, because it's really
Mhm.
hard. You don't want to describe when it's a graph, like the whole graph. You want to describe what's necessary for the student to actually learn from it, right? And that's a different way than just describing it outright. So it's been a really interesting experience to get that project underway and see it wrapped up.
And just an alert to your development team. We found that the most popular screen readers are not consistent in whether they can read LaTeX or HTML, Mathml,
Okay, that's good to know.
or even equation editor versions. When we wrote equation editor versions, which we were told by Microsoft should be screen readable by JAWS, the most popular one. For half of us, it worked. For the other half, it didn't. So it was something buried so deep in the settings, we just hired outside consultants to write it. Just kind of
Yeah,
silly, but
no, it's really interesting because those screen reader tools are very adaptable to the person. There's a lot of different settings the person using them can turn on and off. And so me and another person on my team, Sasha, we've been really ramping up and getting educated on accessibility and screen readers more than I ever have in
Right.
my life. And yes, we found the same thing. They're not consistent, and it can also be just the person and how their settings are. So yeah, trying to find the best approach for everyone is not as easy as you would think.
Yeah. Hopefully Mathml and LaTeX have some powerful built-in abilities to be screen readable.
Yes.
More powerful and more accommodating than a giant company like Microsoft.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for all the attention to the important little diversity, equity, inclusion details. Really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Thanks. Yeah, me and my team have it's my latest soapbox issue. I want to have the most accessible courses out there, because in all of my lifetime, everybody does accessibility. I don't want to say as an afterthought, but it's like they do the best they can, right? I want to really do better and try and make things better for blind students, and even cognitively impaired and physically impaired. So for example, I have a nephew who is has no use of any of his limbs. He's gone to college by using one of those mouses, and I can't even imagine the difficulty that is to not only move things around on a screen in some of these courses, but to tab through things. So we're paying specific attention to like tab order and heading, color, and all of the things that that are related to that. And math courses are really like the toughest and require a lot of attention to detail when you're building those out for accessibility. Yeah, I'm happy to. I'm like kind of excited about it all. It seems like a challenge that shouldn't be a challenge anymore. We should just know how to do it well, right? So I'm learning a lot. Well, so if there's not a whole lot of other things to talk about or say with regard to math and formulas and or accessibility around those, trying to think of any other topics. I don't want to jump off too soon and then think of something that I wanted to ask.
Aaron, I have one quick question. I'm wondering, so LaTeX is built upon a large number of packages, and a lot of the different packages can do different things. So there's, for example, a package called TIKZ that actually will allow you to draw graphics using LaTeX code. And I'm wondering if the developers have incorporated a lot of the common packages into that. So for example, I've got a brief little graphic that I just put in the chat. This will just draw a couple of arrows with an angle between them, or a couple of lines with an angle between them. And I'm wondering if that kind of thing is something that would be possible in this.
Yeah, I'm going to try it out right now. Thanks for that.
Okay.
I just gotta get the right. They're experimenting with different toolbars, and so this one in our testing environment has a couple different. I just had to find the right one. Okay. Oh, this is looking good.
Yeah.
Okay, no, but that's helpful, because if we are going to get into things more like which we want, geometry, I think even linear algebra requires some of this, right? And then
Yeah.
even statistics could probably use some stuff like this. This would be really helpful. So good to know. Thank you.
Okay.
I will give that feedback. Okay. Did anyone who joined late miss anything and want me to show it again?
I could do with the introduction again. Sorry, I was.
It's okay. Sure, no problem. That's who I saw. I saw Dawn. I didn't want to call you out, but I saw you on there and I'm like, I totally missed it.
Thanks.
So basically, we have this formula editor now that gives you the ability to put formulas in either LaTeX or Mathml, and you can preview it here. This is one I just put in, and then you can save it and it'll display in a page like that. Oops, didn't mean to click it. But you can also do it in questions, question stems, answer options, and from the student perspective, you can even enter, like if you have an open-ended question, you can even, in fact, I'm going to try that. That's something I haven't tried. I'm going to try an open-ended question. So what is the equation? And short text, but this is going to be, let's see, I haven't tried this yet. Okay, but I don't know if I can actually test it in a preview is the thing. But what I want to do is see if I can, like I said, in a preview, it might not come up. Yeah, I can't even type text there. It's just showing me how it looks on the page. Oh, or maybe I picked the wrong thing. Oh, I was trying to do text, and it only lets me do number. Okay, I got to find out about that too, like if that's even available yet. And I imagine it will be. It's so important, right? So I want to check on that as well. And maybe it's just a matter of me not selecting the right type. but we'll see. Maybe that's still coming.
Okay, can you do theorem numbering?
How would you do that?
Begin theorem. I think it's been so long since I've checked anything.
Here, let me get a new box. Here, I'm going to use this one. So take me through it, Don. How do I do this?
Oh, it has been so very long. I used to do this like every day. Yeah, begin
Oh, wait,
theorem,
there we go.
and then just put like x equals z. I don't care, and end theorem, and then do another one
Okay.
to see if you can, if they give
Begin theorem.
numbers.
Okay, and then yeah, you
Like
just
a equals b. It doesn't anything at all.
y, and then end theorem. See, this is why I have this meeting. This is awesome. Oh my god.
And then end theorem.
Yep. Yep. Okay, that doesn't look like it's doing
That's not
anything.
even working. Okay, so obviously if you can't do a single one, you wouldn't be able to get numbers. Because that would be really useful if it would automatically number wherever it was in the text or chapter or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not,
It's not working.
no, you can't even do one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll agree with Dawn. I think that this is something that would be really, really useful, especially in exposition. You know, to have the ability for the numbering system to keep track of, you know, theorem 1.1 or theorem 1.2, and then be able to refer back to those theorems. So LaTeX has a cross-referencing system. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for that. See, that's why I wasn't ending it too early. I know you'd think of some other stuff.
Speaking of cross-references, are there still cross-references in general?
Like being
Can
able
you-
to reference another page or another portion of the
Well, we have summary pages, and so our stuff is XML, and we don't hand edit the XML, we hand edit other XML and build the OLI XML.
Mm-hmm.
And so our summary pages are automatically generated from, you know, definitions or whatever that appear in our chapter. They get sucked out and put on a summary page. If we can't do XML anymore, we're going to have to find a new way to do that and make sure it stays consistent, because editing the same thing in multiple places always goes wrong, right? If you have to do that. So if you could have your summary page just be a bunch of cross references that like actually duplicate the stuff, that would be enough to make me not be afraid of moving away from the XML, I think.
Oh, well, that's really helpful to know. I know.
Or it would certainly ease the transition a lot, because that utterly terrifies me, the losing the ability to do the XML directly.
Right. So
Things like that. Yeah.
we just, and I think we can reuse the functionality we've built with bibliography. Let me take a look. I haven't played with this, so bear with me. So yeah, we have the ability now to build bibliography page, but also when you make the citations in the pages, it'll automatically populate them, the ones that they're referencing at the bottom of the page. I can imagine, and we will need this functionality done. We do cross references all the time, but the way you're describing it is a little more interesting. So that's helpful to know. Because that would help us, that would help us build summary pages, glossaries.
Yeah.
As another thing that we want to be able to do that with. And what are some other places like extra practice? You want to point people to extra practice and be able to come back to where it is.
Yeah, and really all it needs is an ID on the object.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it sort of follows pretty straightforwardly with modern like XML tools and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
exactly. So that, yeah, that's helpful to know. And that's and thank you also for that description of how you do the XML a little differently. Because you all do some funky stuff with your courses.
There are so many places where you have to have the same information in our stuff presented in 2 or 3 different formats or places or whatever, that I this was like 15 years ago, but I just eventually said to Wilfred, no, I'm not doing it anymore. Give me a month. And I came up with our own custom flavor of XML and a couple of XLs.
Mm-hmm.
Those transforming style sheets. Okay, there's weather. It's happening. I'm probably getting a migraine. I'm sorry, I can't talk.
It's
But
okay.
it runs a couple of transformations on it, and you know, it builds the workbook pages, and then it also builds all the lab activities, but it's from one source. So there's no way that the formula that you see on the page and the one that's in the lab problem, there's no way those can get out of sync.
Right, right.
And we used to have to make SVG images and then rasterize them and stuff. So
Yeah,
it's a
you don't
little
wanna-
easier now.
Yeah.
But yeah, just because keeping the same thing in line, like in 3 or 4 different places, just got to be so much of a headache that it was easier to take the time to build a whole new system to do it.
Okay, that's good to know. And in fact, what I'll probably want to do is you know, when we dig into your particular course that we get a demo of that from you. Like
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
For
I'll
sure.
set that up so that the dev team can see exactly what you're needing to do. And but it might be just a matter of allowing cross references and you know, being able to edit something in one place and have all of the places it is, especially formulas when they're that
So if you actually had it so that you could put XML source and then have multiple XSLT transformations on it, we could just use the existing stuff and plug in our XSLTs.
Interesting.
So it would only have to do small snippets of the text instead of the whole thing. But yeah, that if you could do that, I would have no qualms about giving up the framework and just, you know, you have a snippet of something encoded in your own personal flavor of XML. And then you have the XSLTs to make it do the display version and your lab version, and to create the Mathml and to do whatever, or for whatever else you need. Like I'm sure that other courses and frameworks and topics could do similar things, like easily enough by coming up with their own semantic XML for, you know, whatever it is they're presenting that could then shunt it into different contexts using different XSLTs.
Interesting. Okay.
I'd love that. I'd love that so very, very much.
What if we just built the functionality you need though without the XSLTs?
Oh yeah, we'd have to provide our own. That's no, that part I expect to do. That
Okay,
would be part of the course person job, not the OLI job.
I see.
Just making it so that you can say, take this chunk of XML that's meaningless to most people, run this XSLT on it so that you produce the thing that goes in the page, and run this other thing that does this thing somewhere else. So you have a couple of different pipelines for the same thing. And that would be fantastic. That would be beautiful. That would be just beyond beautiful.
Okay, well, thank you for that description. This is really going to be helpful to get the dev team, you know, started on this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Well, no one new has joined. So I think I've heard from everyone online. And I really appreciate you all coming and providing some feedback and insights into other needs, and, you know, allowing me to be just like testing this stuff in front of you and showing you what's possible and getting that feedback. It's amazing. So I'm going to end early on this Friday before holiday. And you guys have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the 4th of July. And I will see you back here next month.
If there are any other snacks, happy Canada Day.
Oh yeah, happy Canada Day too.
Work
And
them
then
out.
let me see what the next meeting. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I don't know if I put it on. I did put it on here. The next meeting is going to be teaching and practice. So what that means is I'm going to want to get feedback on how folks deliver their courses, setting up sections, how you communicate with your students, all of that, all of the things around actually delivering a course and supporting the instructors as they teach with these courses. So join us next month for that conversation. I'll be looking forward to that. I'm sure that'll be a full hour and a half, no doubt. And in the meantime, enjoy the month and your summer. And thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks.
See you again.
Yeah, thanks, Gideon.
Have a
Hi,
great long
Erin.
weekend.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, I don't do any math, which
I
is why I
know.
had nothing to say today.
It's okay. I'm glad you came anyway. So
Yeah, it's good to hear about different things. So thanks for doing something different.
yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Have a nice one. Hi, Keelan. Hi, Alex. Hi, Tom V.
Yeah.
I'm watching.